How can you not love that intro music? It hits every single time. Welcome back to the Opinionated Idiot Show. I am your host this evening. I got my blue frames on tonight. Blue frames tonight for a blue day. How's everybody doing this evening? Hopefully, you guys can come in and join the live show because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I am a live streamer. You guys, the subscribers, you got to come over, hit that bell notification. So every time I go live, you guys know. But I want to thank all of the new subscribers here on the channel. The channel is growing, and I'm very happy with the reaction of all the videos that I have been putting out lately. So I appreciate that. All the comments, likes, shares, all that fun stuff. But this evening, we are going to get into Alec Baldwin. Recently, over the last couple of weeks, he has been charged with involuntary manslaughter in the shooting of Halyna Hutchins on the set of Rust. And he's facing some pretty serious charges. But the thing that I look at, and the thing that I'm kind of annoyed about, and what I've been reading, is that he could only be facing, I think, up to 15 to 18 months. And as a producer, as someone that is in charge of that set, you are ultimately responsible for the safety of everyone on that set. So I got an issue with that. What I want to do before we get into the full interrogation, and what I want to do when we go through this interrogation, did Alec Baldwin incriminate himself by talking with police on the day of his arrest? Or actually, no, I'm sorry, not of his arrest, the day of questioning. So I take that back. But and the funny thing is, I went over the George Stephanopoulos interview with Alec Baldwin, and I thought that what Alec was trying to do was play judge and jury during that kind of special they did with him. And anyway, so I want to pull this article up quick, and then we're going to get through the full interrogation of Alec Baldwin, do some criticism, talk about that a little bit. So I read this afternoon, and it says Rust assistant director's accounting of shooting contradicts Alec Baldwin's disposition. And that's why I wanted to read this article over really quick before we actually get into the interrogation or questioning or interrogation. So let's see. It says the Rust first assistant director who copped to negligence in the shooting death of Halyna Hutchins told authorities no person owns all of the blame for the onset incident. And probably, this particular person has been advised by his lawyer, like, hey, this doesn't look good. Maybe it's just easier to cop to a lesser charge, so you don't go down forever. So you don't go down for, involuntary manslaughter. You could be facing years in jail. So maybe he struck a deal with the DA. But it says in the deposition attained by Variety, David Halls in December said the shooting was caused by a tragic series of mistakes. His account appears to differ from those given by parties involved. And this is what happens usually in these types of cases too. Everybody starts creating distance between themselves. They separate. They don't want to get involved. Oh, I just smashed my elbow. They don't want to get involved. They distance themselves, and then lawyers basically just start telling them, like, you need to keep your mouth shut. It's just like what they say about an airplane crash. He continued. It's just like it's not one thing. It's a system failure. Hall has signs agreed to plea. Yeah, see, here you go. Hall has since agreed to a plea guilty to a misdemeanor charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon. The terms of the deal include 6 months of probation and a suspended sentence. See, he cut the deal because if he would have went all the way and said, no, I'm going to fight this with my lawyer, he'd probably be in Alec Baldwin's, where Alec Baldwin is right now, where he's going to face charges, going to have to go to court, and striking the deal with his lawyer suggestion probably helped lessen this crime. So it says he also agreed to testify against the film producer and leading man, Alec Baldwin, and the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who are facing counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with Hutchinson's death. And it goes on to say Baldwin was rehearsing for the scene inside Bonanza Creek Ranch on the outskirts of Santa Fe, New Mexico, when he mistakenly shot Hutchins as she readied the camera for a take. The film director, Joel Souza, was also struck on the shoulder. He said Baldwin was seated in a church pew, practicing a move in which he pulls a pistol from his holster and then it suddenly went off. However, I love all these pop-up ads. It's so annoying. However, Hall's account of events that preceded the gunfire conflict with others on set. In the moments before the deadly shooting, it has been said that Hall handed the firearm to Baldwin and called out "cold gun," despite the chamber containing live ammo, according to a search warrant affidavit. And what the hell is live ammo doing on a fucking movie set anyway? What is it even doing there? And there has been rumors out there that people were actually shooting beer cans in between takes. So there was, a lot of shit going on that movie set. In the deposition with the attorneys from New Mexico Occupational Health and Safety Bureau, Hall denies passing the gun off to 64-year-old actor. The regulatory agency is seeking to impose a $136,000 penalty for workspace safety violations. Hall said that he gave the gun to Gutierrez-Reed, who in turn handed it to Baldwin. The first assistant director, or AD, has also denied calling out "cold gun" in terms used to alert people on set that no live rounds were being used. And what the why were live rounds even there? I don't have any recollection of me saying that, Hall says. I have recollections of Halyna saying it. Gutierrez-Reed has offered a different version of events, so everybody's story is just completely joggled in this whole shitstorm. And, unfortunately, you have a young lady that was shot and killed, and then you had a young man or a man that was hurt in all of this, debacle. She has stressed that while she doesn't know how the live round made it into the gun chamber, she also assured that she gave the firearm to Halls, not Baldwin, and then walked out of the room. In her deposition, Gutierrez also emphasized that she never used the term "cold gun." I don't like the term "cold gun," she testified. I know it got thrown around a lot on set. That was mostly Dave's terminology. For his part, Baldwin has offered several different accounts of the incident, initially telling investigators Gutierrez-Reed gave him the gun. He later reversed course and told officers it was Hall who handed him the firearm. And then in his first interview, Baldwin said they only assumed that the gun was cold, but later said Hall declared it a cold gun in another sit down with authorities. Sousa also told police that Hall called "cold gun" and could not recall whether it was in the early day or just prior to the incident. So there you have it there. And I just wanted to use this to kind of set up the questioning or interrogation of Alec Baldwin. We're going to play through that. And let me get that queued up. Just give me 2 seconds. I just want to check something over here really quick, and we will do this. Let me see. Bear with me. Yep. I knew that was going to happen. Good old YouTube. They just don't like talking about this. They love to demonetize right away. You guys need to fix this stuff. I'm not talking about anything bad. It's because I said gun and I said shooting. So there you have it. I get it out of the way for you. Now it will send to manual review, and this is going to take 7 days. Just crazy. Sorry. It's just good old YouTube, good old friendly family YouTube. Anyway, so let's go on here. I'm not going to let this ruin my evening. So from the Law and Crime YouTube channel, Law and Crime Network YouTube channel, fantastic network. If you love this type of stuff, go over and subscribe, hit the bell notification. You can get all up-to-date news that is going on in the crime world. Hopefully I can play through this and I don't get shut down. I don't see a problem. I've played their stuff before. So let's get to the interview or interrogation of Alec Baldwin about his shooting on the Rust movie set.
Either of those chairs. I thought he was coming with you, so yes, not.
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Alex,
thanks for joining the stream this evening. Appreciate that.
And can we get you coffee or anything? Okay.
I mean, first of all, I want to say he looks a mess. I mean, complete mess. I mean, I only imagine the stress that he's gone through, and I think he's had little issues with the sauce as well. Allegedly, some issues with the sauce. So I'm sure that doesn't help either. I always like to see what people do the moments up to like a questioning or interrogation. I'm sure he's frantically texting his wife or people that are involved on the set. So the investigators will come in soon. What we're trying to figure out here, did this help or hurt Baldwin? I have to say, I think that the George Stephanopoulos interview was pretty bad. I wouldn't have done that. I don't know what lawyers are advising him through this process, but I probably, after that incident happened, I would just further no comment and lawyer up. It's probably the best thing to do. And I certainly would have never talked to investigators without my lawyer there. Oh, this is interesting. I think he has a call with his wife here. A FaceTime call.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Excuse me.
Hey.
I'm at the police station, sheriff's, and they're about to interview me. How is everyone at home? How are the kids?
That's his wife.
The kids are great.
Did you, hold on a second, please. Did you tell Carmen what's going on?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Are you convinced you don't want to come tomorrow?
I mean, I don't think it's a good idea. Look, call me after you talk with the sheriff, but I don't think it's a great idea. I think this is,
No, but let me say this to you, just to be clear.
That is his wife.
They're going to make me stay here tomorrow anyway.
If it was his wife, we would hear the fake accent.
Insurance investigators.
It's probably a handler.
I'm going to talk to you more, but I'm just saying.
I'm so sorry. You must have you must be so traumatized.
No, what I am is someone who, I don't want to do this for a living anymore. I don't want to be a public person. And, I'm the one holding the gun in my hand that everybody was supposed to have taken care of. They always hand me a cold gun. Where are you now?
I wonder if he's aware of the cameras. I'm sure he was.
Michelle, who?
It's funny. I had a friend of mine many years ago. She worked out in LA at a watch store, and Alec Baldwin was a client of hers. And I have to say, she said that he was not a very nice guy. I personally don't know Alec Baldwin at all, but I used to always love to hear the stories of all the celebrities that used to frequent her store out in LA. Alec Baldwin, I know Tiger Woods used to go in there, Kobe Bryant. She actually one time had an event that she went to and actually spent, not that I care, but spent 2 hours alone in a green room with Kim Kardashian. And I'm sure that was pretty interesting. So some interesting stuff there.
And where are you?
The weird world of Hollywood.
Right.
Hollyweird,
when I'm done, okay?
what I like to call it. We're trying to figure out here is, did Alec Baldwin self-incriminate himself by talking to police without his lawyer present, or just talking to them in general prior to the just after the incident? You have a mask on around his neck? He's got a mask.
Hi, Alec.
Hey, where are the kids?
Here's sleeping.
The boys are
I'm just
sleeping?
gonna take, yeah, I'm gonna go
Did she tell you what's going on? I'm trying to convince her to come. I think we should come. And just spend the time here, and they're gonna do what they gotta do with and deal with what they gotta do with, and we shouldn't let it, we'll go, I won't work, and we'll go enjoy ourselves. It's all paid for. And they're not gonna give us the money back.
And we should be staying away from the vultures here.
Are they outside?
No, but I imagine they will be at some point. They're
I
gonna
think
find
it's a great
out.
idea.
I've been out.
It's a great idea, you should come for that reason also. All right, I'll call Carmen on her iPad, okay?
Okay, yeah, she's on her phone. I'm very sorry, actually.
Oh, you have no idea, how,
Yeah. Dude, it's paid, baby.
unbelievable this is and how strange this is. And I'll explain to you later.
Sorry you're in this position.
No, it's just,
I hope that everyone's okay and that you're okay.
I'll call you back, thank you, bye-bye.
And here's the investigators.
Hi, Samantha.
I have to say, probably for the investigator, it's got to be pretty weird that, and I'm sure they probably do come in contact with high profile people, and especially in that area with the studio being out there. But, I would be like, wow, I have like Alec Baldwin sitting in front of me. But you definitely have to do your job. So,
No way you're here. For this incident that was unfortunate earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you already agreed to talk to us and everything, and that's great. We're just gonna go over the rights. She's gonna read these to you, as you understand them, and just sign an initial, and
so
then
they did read him his rights. Interesting.
if you read the bottom and agree to talk to us,
You just read something.
as you
I don't know if that's just formality with an interview. Most likely, probably.
understand them, yes.
Just in case any criminal, any criminal activity comes out of that interview.
So first one, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court or other proceedings.
Right there. I'm sorry, excuse me. Right there, I would be just like, I need to call my lawyer.
You have the right to consult with an attorney before making any statement or answering any questions, and you may have him or her present with you during questioning. You may have an attorney appointed to you to represent you if you cannot afford one or otherwise obtain one. If you decide to answer any questions now with or without a lawyer, you have the right to stop questioning at any time or stop questioning for the purpose of consulting a lawyer.
So my only question is, am I being charged with something?
No, we're just reviewing.
I don't, that's what I'm not worried because I'm not.
Doesn't matter, Alec. It doesn't matter if you're being charged. If ever anybody is being in an interrogation room, being questioned by police, you ask for a lawyer. You don't say anything.
Yeah.
We have to do our job at
just tell me that.
At advising you your rights
write my
because
name here?
this is an investigation.
Just a formality.
Because it is an active investigation, she's just going to say it's formality. So that's probably, like I said, if anything criminal comes out of this investigation and they do happen to charge him, his rights have been read.
You have to do it. You're here.
You
I
do
appreciate
whatever
it.
you have to do. What is today?
It is the 21st of October.
Oh,
Long day?
well, what's interesting, not to digress on some commentary here, is that we've done this for
Interesting comment. Yeah, it's a long day.
2 weeks, and we did it the right way every day. Every day.
It's interesting that he's going into, everything has been fine on the set for 2 weeks of shooting. Everything is good. It's almost like he's stating his case now.
On set, to rehearse, they bring you what's called a cold gun. The gun is either completely empty,
Dude, you need to get your lawyer, bro.
chambers, or there is a cosmetic piece So for example, if you're the camera, and this is going to sound silly and specific, but if I'm pointing the gun close
Alec, shh. Get your lawyer, dude.
to the camera, you want to see into the cylinder that there's material in there, cosmetic material. So those rounds are cosmetic rounds.
Right.
They put them in, and you rehearse, or even in a shot when you don't fire. I pull the gun up and you see there's some material inside the cylinder. They'd hand me a cold gun, no charges. They always hand you a cold gun with nothing in it to rehearse. And then
They always hand you a cold gun.
you shoot, and if you are shooting loads that are flash loads, and they're usually in 3 denominations, quarter, half, or full load rounds, so that the flash is bright and the sound is loud, louder, loudest. Full load is loudest. So if you're outside, you want a full load bang, you want a loud sound. If you're inside, you can do a quarter load. Right before you shoot, everyone preps, crew puts the earplugs in, some put headphones on. The camera's there, very often there's a loose tight screen, but you're the camera operator and there's the camera, so I should always shoot off camera. You never shoot into the lens. And you shoot it, there's a flash and a sound. Now, I went to lunch, she disarmed me. I sat down.
She being,
Hannah, the
Hannah.
armaments person. She was always handling the guns 99% of the time. So I would, if I had a cosmetic rifle with no rounds, I'd hand it to one of her assistants.
This dude's talking way too much.
Sitting there,
Lawyer, bro.
she disarms me, we go to lunch, we come back from lunch, and they hand me the revolver, the Colt.
and I just like the name, it's
Hannah.
Hannah again.
They arm me, and you're assuming, as we've done every time, that it's a cold gun for the rehearsal.
Assuming. That's the issue. You assumed. Anytime anybody hands you a firearm, and anytime you're handling a firearm or you're going to shoot a firearm, you always check that firearm to see if it's loaded. Even if they're saying, you're on a movie set and there's no way any live rounds can get into this gun, you always check it. And the thing is, with a revolver, the type of gun that he shot, it would be very easy to look into that gun to make sure that there were no live rounds. Like I said, if anybody's ever handing you a gun, before you take possession of that gun, or as you're taking possession of that gun, you check it to make sure that it's either loaded or it's not loaded.
And I put the gag in the shot, you're the camera, because I have a coat and I have a holster, and I pull the coat over and I kind of cup my hands like I folded my hands. And then I'm going to slowly sneak the revolver, the Colt out, and turn and shoot these other guys, or try to shoot them. I take the coat over the thing, the camera's there. I believe, my recollection is she was there, turned a bit, like talking to him. So I think she was hit in the right armpit. But this is all I know, and that is that I take the gun out in the rehearsal. Really, he wants it very dramatic and very slow. I'm trying to sneak up on them. I take the gun out.
Gee,
And then
she was shot in the armpit. They go right in through the chest cavity and right through the heart. That's brutal. That's really
it clears, the barrel clears the whole, turn and cock the gun over here. I turn and cock the gun goes off.
Excuse me.
It's supposed to be a cold gun. Nothing. No flash charges, nothing. Now, this is a puzzle to me. This is making me very emotional now, but in my time, and I'm older now, but when I was younger and I was shooting guns and stuff, I've never seen a theatrical flash round where the material went through someone's armpit, came out their body, and hit somebody else in the shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if your department is prepared to go find out what comes out of his shoulder surgically. Is that a live round?
That's what we are actually looking
Is
at.
that a lot? Because it doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Yeah.
It hits her in the armpit, comes out her shoulder, goes into his shoulder, and he just told me on the phone, I talked to Joe. He said, they showed me the x-ray, and the shape of the thing in my shoulder is the shape of a bullet. Now, all the rounds, I was told, you need to verify, that this is an important note, they take the gun, they enter it, and all the rounds that are in there were either dummy rounds, no flash, cold rounds, or rounds with a flash. In the rehearsal, there should have been nothing. It should have been a cold gun with no rounds inside, or dummy rounds, cosmetic rounds, no flash. I take the gun.
Should have. And again, he should have checked that firearm when he took it from the armorer.
Now slowly, I turn, I cock the pistol, bang, it goes off. She hits the ground. She goes down. He goes down, screaming. He said, Jesus Christ, and I'm going. And I thought that maybe sometimes the wadding can come out if you're close enough to get a burn. Two actors who killed themselves with guns, with theatrical guns, John Eric Hexum and Brandon Lee.
Excuse me, what kind of car do you drive?
The commercial.
They put the live round in, and I'm told even with the flash powder, you can cause contusions and you can do a.
Yeah, Brandon Lee was shot on set. That was tragic during the movie The Crow, and they ultimately end up finishing that movie in, I believe, using a stand-in, and it's very early, very, very early use of computer-generated graphics. But if you watch the better part of the ending of that movie, there's a lot of scenes Brandon Lee is just running kind of in darkness. That was the stand-in. They actually did finish that movie, and it's tragic because he would have went on to, I believe, to have an amazing movie career. He just had that charisma about him, and he nailed it with The Crow.
Brain bleed and died, which both of them died.
Right.
I think with Brandon Lee, there was a piece of material lodged in the thing that shot from or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember vividly, but my point is,
Remember,
I've been doing
Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee. It was a great action movie, late 80s, early 90s action movie. And that's really the one that kind of set him aside. And then I believe just based off that, got him the role in The Crow. And unfortunately, his movie career was not long. And The Crow obviously was his best movie.
Sad. I shot enough guns in my day in movies. I've never seen this before, where a flash round, but from my understanding is, can I borrow your pen for a minute?
You could even borrow mine.
My understanding is,
Dude, you need to get your lawyer, bro.
yes, that in a bullet, here's the thing with the pin, and here's the bullet itself. And now here, when you have a cosmetic round, no flash, no nothing, they drill a hole in the side of the brass to signify that it's a cosmetic round. There's nothing in there. There's no powder. But when you have a flash round, and there's stuff in there, wadding and powder to make the charge. This material here, that is the bullet, is made of a clay or some material that just disintegrates. So what you have is bang, and you see the flash go bang, and you hear the sound, but nothing. There's no projectile.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm curious about is what came out of that bullet that went through her body and into his shoulder.
It was a bullet.
That's pretty powerful.
I've never heard of it. Now, some people say you can lodge material in the barrel accidentally, a rock, something, that happens. Which is why every time we've done this, I'm here to tell you, to testify that every time we've done this, she's done it right. She cleaned the barrel, made sure nothing was lodged in there. We went hot when they were ready. You always announce, going hot. Crew gets ready. And then all of a sudden, you're the camera, and I shoot away from you. I sit there like, bang, 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 and flashes are coming out. We shoot the rounds. She cleans the barrel every time, and she checks that the rounds are all cosmetic rounds, or nothing in the chamber for the rehearsal. She hands me the gun. I'm assuming she's done it the right way. She's done it the last 2 weeks. I put it in the holster. I pull it out slow. We're rehearsing. We're not filming anything. I pull it out slow, turn, cock the pistol, bang, it goes off, and she hits the ground. And then he starts screaming. And I'm thinking, in a flash round, I could see maybe if there was wadding or there's some stuff like that's hot, and maybe it hits you and burns you. And then, as they say, sometimes that happens. But remember, we're rehearsing, so no one's protected.
It's all supposed to be this one, cosmetic one.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
For the rehearsal, the gun is normally empty.
Mm.
But my point is that they were standing in positions they wouldn't ordinarily be in because they assumed it was an empty, cold gun. We weren't shooting. We were.
Now, his position that he's always talked about is that he pulled the gun from the holster and it went off. And then there was the article that came out where the FBI tested that particular pistol that he used that day on set and said that there's no way that pistol could have gone off without pulling the trigger. There's just physically no way to do that because of the revolver style type of gun it was. The hammer on a revolver would need to be pulled back, and the only way for that hammer to disengage down on the the firing pin for the bullet is to actually pull the trigger. So you pull the trigger, hammer goes down, hits the firing pin, bullet shoots. So, but he's been saying all along that he just pulled it out and it went off. It's just virtually impossible.
Person, that's a vital difference.
And I actually believe that the gun, because of the live round, something I think happened to it. The barrel fell out or something like that.
So if she's here, if the camera's here, and she's standing here talking to the gun, and I'm on a bench here, and Joel's behind her, and this is not proportionate because obviously the camera's not as big as her body, but I draw the gun slowly and aim off camera, and there's supposed to be nothing in there. So she's not protecting herself and standing off. I'm shooting in a direction, and everybody is supposed to be to that side of the camera. There's nobody in my line. Nobody. And so when I shoot the gun, so in the rehearsal, I'm assuming I have an empty gun.
It's like, it's very interesting to see probably this type of activity that Baldwin is doing is probably things that they talk about or do on set, rehearsing or talking themselves through a scene. And that's basically what he's doing here with these two police officers.
And the gun goes off. She's right in front of me. Mm-hmm. She's as far from me as I am from difference between maybe you and the door.
Okay. So pretty close proximity.
It was a very tight shot.
Okay.
The shot was here, of me, not of me, it's of me pulling the gun slowly, turn cock.
Okay.
And she's right there, vulnerable, in a position she wouldn't ordinarily be if we were shooting, and this thing, boom, she hits the ground.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna back you up just a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
How long have you been on set?
I arrived Monday the 11th.
Okay.
And started my fittings, and they were shooting the week before.
And the 11th of October?
Monday the 11th, I flew in from New York. I flew from New York to Denver to Albuquerque because there's no direct flights here, and then drove from Albuquerque to here. Mm-hmm. Rehearsed and fitted and did all my preparatory stuff.
But that was in October, correct?
That was Tuesday the 12th, yeah. I flew on the 11th, rehearsed on the 12th, started shooting the 13th, Wednesday the 13th, I started shooting.
Okay.
There had been reports, leading up to Baldwin actually getting on set of how mess everything was. There had been reports that people were quitting. They were leaving the set because there was no direction. Things were crazy. They were all over the place.
Day through Sunday.
And it just basically got worse when he got there.
So the entire time you've been on set, have you seen the same armorer?
And her crew, everybody.
How many people are on her crew?
My guess is that what I witnessed is 3.
Okay.
I'm so tired tonight.
Hannah and 2 other women.
All right.
And very often their task with me, because we're not shooting every day, guns, there's no armaments every day. They dress me with my holster, my knife. The film is set in 1888, so I'm armed with the classic weaponry of the cowboy era.
Okay.
And so they would make sure I was dressed properly. 85% of their task is to make sure I'm dressed with everything properly.
The armorers?
The armorers, the armorers' wardrobe doesn't necessarily, they sometimes trade back and forth, but wardrobe doesn't necessarily deal with my holster.
Okay.
And the knife, but that's a prop. The armorer, Hannah, and her team, they dealt with me being knifed and that being lashed properly, so it looks proper.
Okay.
And the holster.
Be right back.
Okay.
And so it was wardrobe as much as it was props, as much as it was armaments.
Okay. Do you know Hannah's last name?
No.
Do you know what she looks like? Or can you describe what
multicolored hair, glasses, not too tall.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's called Audible. Okay, so I'm going to show you right here. I have a check from Audible. This is for $1,100. This one's for $1,100 again, and then this one is $1,200.
Skip it.
Everyone knows her pretty well because her father is a very famous
All right, I had to
pharmacist.
pee really bad.
Yikes. Very well known.
Okay.
She's the daughter of this famous gun guy, movie gun guy.
And what about the other girls in her crew?
I don't remember their names.
Okay. Do you know what they look like?
A blonde, thin, not too short, kind of medium height, and brunette,
Probably not the best
someone on
thing
the
to
shorter
drink
side.
it.
Maybe the same height as
No
Hannah,
caffeine.
brunette, and
No
and
caffeine.
also there's you go back and forth between. They're wearing a mask.
9:30 at night drinking caffeine
free. But I've seen it with their masks off.
Okay. All right. What time did you guys start today?
I don't know what time they started. I came in slightly later because they had a couple of shots without me in the morning, so I came in at, I guess I arrived there at like about 7:45.
Okay.
Normally I'm there at like 6:30.
All right. And then anything abnormal in the day? Who handed, or should I say, who handed you your weapon in the day?
Hannah,
Handed it. Okay. And physically handed or put it in the holster?
handed it to me.
Okay.
She would show me the gun.
Okay.
I wonder when this goes to court, if there's going to be cameras allowed. I would assume yes.
Or she'd say, cold gun. She'd say, test it, or some language to indicate, she handed me the gun, that it was fine. And she'd say, do you want to check? And I always didn't want to insult her, because we never had a problem.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I'm good. So, and the first AD very often will ask, periodically, he'll say, let me check.
Okay.
And they'll have two people check, for this very reason, that we don't have any, forget about live rounds of bullets, that we have any flash rounds in the gun while we're rehearsing. Because if someone wants to indicate, and they're not thinking, they pull the trigger on the gun, you just hear the hammer, the dead sound of the hammer hitting, and you have no flash rounds at all in there for the rehearsal. The rehearsal gun should be empty.
Okay.
And as I said, for the
Again, should be. You keep saying should be. It's still his responsibility to check any firearm that's handed to him.
2 weeks I've been shooting, it has been empty. We haven't had one problem.
And you have you
I mean, that's
physically
just basics gun safety.
checked that, or just by?
She announces to me that that's
See, she just said, "Did you check? Did you pre-check that?" Let's see. I think that's what she just said to him.
no flash rounds at all in there for the rehearsal. The rehearsal gun should be empty.
Okay.
And as I said, for the 2 weeks I've been shooting, it has been empty. We haven't had one problem.
And you have you physically checked that, or just?
See, just asked him, "Did you physically check that?" Because she knows basic gun safety. This is damning. This is not good for him. And this is that he should have just got his lawyer.
She announces to me
And
that
now he's saying, well, no, she's telling me, so I'm just relying on that. You can never, ever just rely on someone when they hand you a handgun, if it's loaded or not. Even if they say it's not loaded, you have to check.
that's clean.
Okay.
She'll say, cold gun, we rehearse. Then when she's done, she takes the gun, goes off to a
If
corner.
the investigator
and
asks him again, did you physically check?
Fanny pack with her elements in there. She puts the flash rounds in there. She'll say, quarter load. But,
I'll be curious if she asks him again, did you physically check?
the lower sound. Or she'll say full load. And if you're the crew and you're shooting me close, even if I say the full load, it is rather loud. It's very loud.
Okay.
She's always announcing what's going to happen.
All
And she's
right.
been very good about that.
So have you guys, backtracking a little bit on this, because she's telling you what's in these guns, have you guys been practicing with those quarter loads, the full loads, all that through the past couple of weeks? Or have you shot with them?
I came in on Tuesday. That's what I did Tuesday,
Okay.
the 12th. I came to the ranch, rode the horse. I just got used to that. And because they have a double who really rides in the distance, they're really fast. And all the athleticism you see on the horse, and they cut to a watch and another guy riding with a horse.
Okay.
I get quite a crew of them.
So today was not the first day that,
No, I shot on Tuesday the 12th with the Henry, the lever, arm action lever, the lever action rifle,
okay,
and the pistol. I just shot both.
okay.
She was
And, all right, moving back forward, what time did you guys break for lunch today?
Usually, I think today was it, we broke at 12:30.
Okay. And who took the weapon at that time?
Hannah
Physically took it?
always
from you?
does. Rarely do the other ladies, the two other women, handle this this live shooting in the scene. As I said, I have the Henry in my hand as a prop. I'd be running through the scene, but no bullets, nothing. When they say cut, I could hand it to the blonde girl.
Okay.
Okay, but whenever we were interacting with somebody where rounds were going to go in the gun, you would have flash rounds in the scene. We shot flash rounds. It was only Hannah. Only. With her fanny pack with the rounds in there, her equipment.
Okay. Do you know what time you guys got back from lunch?
I guess it's 1:30 by the time we all get back to the setup. There's a base camp, and there's the set. So we go to the base camp for lunch, and they always just drive back, get their wardrobe touched up, get their hair touched up, and makeup, whatever we do, and then we're on set. We're about an hour before we go back on the set.
Okay.
Excuse me. What kind of car do you drive?
Commercials.
2014 Corolla. Why?
And was Hannah the one to physically hand you the gun at
Yes.
that point? Okay. During the time that you had it, was it ever handed off to anybody else?
No.
Okay. Did you see where she got the gun from?
No.
Okay.
She has a station somewhere with all her stuff.
Okay.
The elements and a gun, and a couple different guns. So that's for the other actors. She has all the guns.
Is anybody else allowed in that area?
I don't know, but I know that on
So
the
now they're just trying to establish, were there other people in that area? Did anybody touch that gun? Did anybody else around that gun? Just trying to narrow down to see what happens physically in between of not shooting and, breaking for lunch or something like that, being offset.
I've never seen anything that was out of the ordinary. She had sometimes they have a cart, almost like using like a hospital catering, like a big plastic tray, a dark plastic tray, with those wheels. I think that's what she had, but many of the departments have that. And on that tray would be her, or something like that. I don't recall what exactly hers was, but they have a station that they bring to the set for her to put all of her stuff. And if the weather is cooperative, and sometimes they put it under a tent if it looks like it might rain and might even damage the property. But she has a little place she would go to. And I think she has a truck where she stores it. When they wrap, everything goes into a truck and she takes off with it. It's her responsibility to secure the prop weapons,
Everything in there.
which are real guns. They're real guns.
Can you actually describe the gun to me?
It's a Colt, a period Colt. In our emails back and forth when we were prepping the film,
All right, I'm not doing a lot of commentary this evening, not a lot of talking, just kind of, just listening and seeing the interaction, what's going on here between the investigators and Alec, and, just kind of commenting off of stuff like that. So I apologize. I'm not too talkative this evening.
she showed me just a couple of different styles of guns. This is not a big budget movie, so we didn't have a lot of choices. She showed you 3 or 4 choices. I said, give me the biggest gun you've got.
Okay.
And so I didn't, she showed me different guns by email and different knives by email, cruder knives that were made for like someone. Fashioned the handle out of like elkhorn or things. I took a traditional knife, a leather strap, a handle. We went back and forth about the holster and the material, and we just had a relatively brief conversation. I'm having made a lot of movies, I know how not to stress them out about the budget. When she shows me something, I try to make that work. And so she showed me, I said, just give me the big Colt. We were done. And then on that Tuesday, the 12th, I came and shot that gun.
Okay. What color is it?
I believe it's a brown handle, because she showed me 2 of the larger Colts. One had a cherry colored handle, and one had a brown handle, and I chose the brown handle.
You didn't want the cherry.
I could show you my emails and my phone. I didn't want the cherry, it was too shiny.
Okay.
My character's a little bit in the retirement side of his career, so he's a retired bank robber.
I'd say out in the Wild West cherry.
You need the gun to match.
Well, you always have people in films, they go to an extensive extent. You wouldn't believe some films, if they have the budget, the details you go into. Of all the things you wear, jewelry, hats, watches, guns, cars. people sit down. I mean, I've made a lot of films, and the films that had bigger budgets, you could spend a whole week going to rehearsal, reading with the director. The writer goes and rewrites. They listen to how the dialogue sounds. And then once you're done rehearsing the text with the director, the producers, and the writer, when you're done reading, they'll go make amendments. When they hear it come out of your mouth, they go, let's change that line. The way Bob says that. And then they go, then you go right to wardrobe, props, you go do a lot of stuff.
Okay. All right, so you get back from lunch, get ready. She hands you the gun. Was this inside or outside?
We're inside the church set.
Now it sounds like we're gonna get, into what actually happened. So he was, when he initially sat down, was just forwarding himself out there, getting to the actual incident of what happened. Now they've backed him up and they're creating a timeline to get to the actual point of what happened.
And was it the first rehearsal that the incident happened?
Yeah, I believe so, because we talked about, as we were going to lunch, we always talked about what's next.
Okay.
So as we were rehearsing scenes, he said, now I want to do a scene where we've done other shots before lunch. He said, when we come back from lunch, we'll do this. And he said, wait, pull out, show me. Because I was showing you what I thought was the best angle, to see the glint of the gun under my coat. Because you want the scene to work, the shot to work. So where the holster's here, the gun is here, my coat comes around, and I held my hand like it was like I was just cupping my hands, like I was just resting.
Okay.
And
You need to get a lawyer, bro. About 25 minutes ago, you should have had a lawyer.
Showed him in the rehearsal. So when we came back after lunch, we rehearsed for the camera, and I took the gun. I'm showing him. I'm going to go like this, like this, like this. Cock and turn. Bang! It went off. The first time.
Pulled the trigger.
Okay. So it was your
It was the very first
after
time
lunch?
that we were shooting that shot, that we were rehearsing for that shot,
Okay.
that camera shot.
And you may, if you don't know this, did you happen to see? So obviously you guys left from that your upper shooting area to go have lunch, or did you eat lunch up there?
No, we always go back to the base camp for lunch.
Okay.
For the stage.
Did the armorers, or did you see the armorers go down?
No.
No.
Nor would I.
Okay.
Well, once they're gone, I'm gone.
Okay.
So,
Do people stay up on set, or does everybody go down?
well, there are many people who will forego lunch.
Okay.
I take that back, not many. There are some who will forego lunch because they have work to do. Someone will hold them a plate. Someone they'll bring their own lunch. Many people, they make sacrifices because of their pride for their department.
Mhm.
They may sit there and say, I think I need to paint that wall and touch up that wall. I think I need to distress those booths. They all have work to do. And very often, a small number of people will stay up top while we drive down from the set to the base camp. The caterer is there in need, but maybe a modest number of people stay up there.
Okay. All right, and then I just want to clarify really, I know you're drawing something. All right, so when you had pulled out the gun, obviously you were not at the cameraman, but you had identified there were two people there. Can you tell me who those people were?
My recollection is that the operator was there. He's a Steadicam operator.
Okay.
He's a man who there's either a camera on sticks that's stationary, or there's a man who operates the Steadicam that moves. The camera operator was there behind the camera, and she was to his right.
And who is she? That's the one I'm asking.
Halyna, the cinematographer,
Okay.
the camera director.
And she was right next to the cameraman.
She was to his right, to my left.
And who was behind her?
Joel,
And he is,
the director of the movie.
okay. Can you recall who exactly was inside at the time
No.
of the incident?
Or
Or anyone else?
Dave Halls,
Okay.
the first AD. He's in charge of the crew. The first assistant director is the man who's like the foreman of the set. He's in charge of all the grips, all the crew.
Okay.
Electric, cable.
Do you know his
the
name?
furniture. Dave Halls.
Okay, let's see.
Dave Halls is all.
And that was the guy that I read the article, accounting, giving his account of what happened on the day on set that day. And it was just much different from what Alec is saying here or in his multiple interviews.
was there.
I assume he's referencing to, referencing to this interview because this one is public. But yeah,
Halyna
danger.
chose
Baldwin, the
me,
butler
the
did it.
operator, an assistant
Right.
camera
Always the
person,
butler.
the script supervisor,
Dude, I'll tell you,
the woman who sits in the corner.
this dude should have lawyered up about 28 minutes ago.
In some strategic position to take notes on all the action of the take so you can match. If one day you're doing a scene, you sit there and go, what is your first name?
Samantha.
So they're like, Samantha, you know, it's really important that you and I get together and talk about that case. You drank, when did you, she makes notes, so we match every take. That's called continuity. That woman who does continuity, she's always there watching. She was in the room.
Okay.
She's an older woman, like in her 60s, maybe, that colored blonde hair, maybe, or brown hair. But I forget her name now, but she is, so there's a group of people that are always there for every shot, even if you're in a kind of a cramped interior. This set of this church is not large, so then the rest of the crew's outside. In that side was a limited number of people, maybe 8, 9, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I know that every time they do a shot, those
I'll
people
be honest with you. I'm not a big, it's funny, I used to be a Baldwin fan, I think prior to when he started opening his mouth about his political views. And then when he started opening his mouth about his political views is where I kind of lost some respect for him. But, he had a great run of some movies back in the late 80s and early 90s. Trying to think of the one with him and James Woods and Kim Basinger in it. Was about a robbery of I think Michael Madsen, the actor, is in that. And then I can't think of the other girl that was in it. They rob a dog track, I think. And not the heist. What the hell is it? Alec Baldwin. Movies. Let me see. This is really bad. I should know this because I really enjoy the movie. Let's see if anybody put it up there. What the hell was it? Well, Beetlejuice, of course, he's in that. Damn it! What the hell's the name of that movie? The Getaway. The Getaway. That's a good movie. 1994. It's a good Baldwin movie. And then he was great in The Chore with Demi Moore.
Always on the set.
Really great in that. He's a good
Camera,
psychopath in
assistant
that
camera,
movie.
cinematographer,
But-
director, first AD, script.
When he started opening his mouth about his political views, that's kind of where I dropped out and didn't stop liking
Not
him
too many.
anymore.
Very few.
Typical left-wing
Do you think
left-wing
that
Hollywood elite.
any part of this incident that occurred was intentional?
I can only say this, which is,
Probably another,
to me,
Another climate change hero when he fucking flies in on his private jets. Danger saying my favorite Baldwin movie is The Shadow. The Shadow. What the hell is that about? Did I ever see that? Let me look that up. Shadow, 1994. Let's see. In the 1930s New York, The Shadow, Alec Baldwin battles his nemesis, John Lone, who is building an atomic bomb. That's interesting. That's a very interesting concept. I've never seen that. It looks like it's black and white too. Is it black and white? Looks like all the stills from it look black and white. Speaking of that atomic bomb, Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer? Is that the guy that built the bomb? Oppenheimer. I think what the hell is his name? Yeah, Oppenheimer. There's going to be a movie coming out, or it may be out now. I don't know. No, it was released already. July. Oh, damn, I got to catch up on that. There is a movie about Oppenheimer, the guy that built the actual atomic bomb. It was released in July of, actually, no, I'm sorry. It's coming out in July of 2023. And Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in it, and Cillian Murphy, and it looks really good. Matt Damon has a part in it, and it looks like it's going to be a really good movie. I'm very interested in seeing that. Let's see. He says, I think Russell Macaulay directed it. He says Nolan is directing Oppenheimer. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I want to check that one out. So I'm really anticipating that coming out.
Place a bullet and position a bullet that is a live round.
Yeah, if it's Nolan, I'm sure.
Make sure that that bullet is in the chamber. If I were to
Action
squeeze
back.
the trigger in reverse, that bullet came out.
You can only imagine.
Someone has to have extraordinary access.
What is it? That I can only imagine with Nolan.
I can't imagine somebody walked around with a round that was a 45 caliber round. See, other people on the set were speculating that if it was a 45 caliber round, she'd be dead. It would have blown a big hole in her. And so we're wondering, was the projectile that went in her some foreign material stuck, and it was an accident, it was a flash round, and something came out of the barrel. They didn't check. They always check. But
you need to check. You are responsible. When someone hands you, again, I'm going to say this over and over again, someone hands you a firearm, you need to check before you shoot it or point it in any direction of any type of people or anywhere. You need to check if that gun is loaded or not. Do not do that.
But to your experience with these armor,
I've never heard of anything like this in my life, ever.
Okay.
I've never heard of a projectile coming out of a prop gun that went through a person's body, and regardless of her being a smaller woman, that the bullet went in here.
Another commercial here. Bear with me. Bada bing, bada boom.
I'm told went in here, came out here, her shoulder or whatever, and went into his body. And I've never heard of that in my life. I don't know of any projectile in a gun, in a flash prop gun, that could accomplish that. Now, if somebody put a live round in there accidentally, see, a very important question for Hannah is, have you ever commingled live rounds with theatrical rounds in your kit? Because they're forbidden to do that.
Mm-hmm.
According to, I think, the union rules and the safety rules for all the unions, you're not allowed to do that because of the fear of what will happen if you commingle. So whether someone accidentally, and I can't even imagine this, deliberately placed a live round in that gun, I've never heard of that in my life. And I don't know anything about what happened, but all I know is when I, see, the other thing about this is, in a live round, you'd have a recoil, usually. When I shot that gun and it went off, I didn't shoot it when it went off. I didn't intend for it for what happened to happen. When that happened I'm always told, but because
Danger, have you seen Fat Man and Little Boy with Paul Newman and John Cusack? That's really great movie. If you haven't checked that out, that's about the atomic bomb. That's a really, really good movie.
I'm not a gun person.
Says obviously Baldwin never heard of accident on the set of The Crow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just actually talked about that before you jumped in on the in the chat. But you know this. If you have any type of handguns, I'm not sure if you're into handguns or have handguns, that anybody ever hands you a pistol, a rifle, anything, it is your responsibility as the person that's taking possession of that weapon to make sure that it is unloaded, or if it's loaded. You need to know if it's a hot gun or a cold gun. Yeah, many years ago, it is definitely worth a rewatch, and I would probably watch it before you watch Oppenheimer, because I think it will be some good comparison and similarities there. But let's keep playing through this.
They've always told me, they asked me to simulate the recoil. When I shoot the Colt, which is a big gun, 45 caliber bullet, they always teach me when we should be go action. I go,
what do you think, Danger? Do you think that Alex should have asked for a lawyer about 31 minutes ago?
Get back here, boom, and it made me take my hand and go boom and have to kick, because there's no kick in a flash round.
That's right.
And when I don't recall there being any kick either. That's important.
Exactly right here. You check, and you check that gun again. That's exactly correct. You know it, buddy. It is your responsibility.
Are you, I know you said you don't own a gun, but are you experienced with shooting guns?
Only as much as actors have to be experienced.
Okay, which is normally not.
I mean, if you do a movie, safety with weapons is primary. You go off with people. You go off with armaments people to ranges. I've gone to ranges in Arizona where we
Dude should have lawyered up 32 minutes ago. What are you doing, Alec?
shot a lot of guns in a movie many years ago, and you go to a range and you shoot for a few hours, and they teach you how to shoot shotguns, Walther, different, little small guns, James Bond guns, big guns, Uzis, machine guns, whatever you're using, they make you go and rehearse for hours, like a whole day.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, they're very safety conscious, as they have been here. They've been very safety conscious here throughout. That's what puzzles me.
Well,
We didn't have anything.
yeah, and I guess that's
But
what,
it's funny that he keeps stressing that, there's safety on the set and everybody, everybody was safe, and the reports are showing that it was not safe on that set. I got a question here from Rick D. He says, Rick says, hi, do you think he will be guilty? I think that there will be some, jeez, that's tough. Ultimately in the end, the way that I'll look at it is that he was the production lead on the set. So he is fully responsible for what goes on that set. So what action, what people are coming and going, that's ultimately his responsibility. As far as the pistol or the gun going off, it's been already proven that that particular gun, and I talked about this earlier, and I'll demonstrate a little bit, is on that particular gun, you have a hammer, the hammer goes back. The only way for this hammer to engage and hit the firing pin inside the bullet is for the trigger to be pulled, because this is connected. So when that trigger is pulled, and what he's saying is he took it out from his holster, and as he did that and pointed it, it just went off. And they've already proved, the FBI has proved that it's went off. Is there any, I think that he's going to be, oh geez, this is tough. He's definitely going to be negligent of something. And I don't know of all the full charges. I haven't read the full charges. I know that he's got, the involuntary manslaughter charge. And the thing that I think I'm a little upset about is that in the state of New Mexico, I think I was reading that involuntary manslaughter charges can be 15 to 18 months. But because there was a commission of a gun used in the act, I believe there could be an additional 5 years. He could see time. But I think because of the lawyers and the status and the money, we know how this shit all works, that, maybe he gets to a point where they're probably trying to work out some kind of deal. I would assume they probably don't want this to go to trial. But he's crazy, so he might want to go all the way to try to clear his name. But I mean, regardless of what's going on, he's got a lot of PR to clean up. I mean, this might ruin him forever. This might ruin him forever. But do I think he'll be guilty? Oh, geez. If he walks criminally, which would be a shitty thing, because I think that he has some responsibility. So yeah, I guess I would say he's guilty. But if he walks criminally, they're going to nail him civilly. It's probably going to end him. Let's see. Dangerous says, FYI, the SIG is sued over pistol critics, says go off by itself gun maker. SIG is facing fresh accusations that the P320 pistol model is prone to going off without the trigger being pulled. It's not a SIG that he used. Yeah.
Like, the question that I'm trying to get at is, do you think someone would deliberately do this?
I can't imagine who would.
Okay.
Now, people have said, that 6 people got fired from the crew yesterday because they said that the union. I don't want to get into a long diatribe about this.
This is interesting here too. I'm curious to what he's going to say. And like we said, we know that there was reports that the set was a mess.
But the union, the International Association of Theatrical Stage Employees, IATSE is their name. IATSE is the union that controls all the actors. The Directors Guild controls the director, the Screen Actors Guild, but all of the crew are controlled by a contract in which those people voted to go on strike against the major studios, the major networks, the major streaming services, but not the independent film community. In fact, the IATSE rep for the New Mexico contract, because every state has different contracts, was instructed by his bosses in LA. He said, don't go on strike. The strike is against the majors, not against the indie people. And in the indie films, there's 6 different tiers, I believe, in terms of the contract, how much they're paid.
Okay.
A bunch of people on the set walked off anyway, even though they were told not to strike. They struck and they left.
And that was yesterday.
That was yesterday. That was their last day.
Yeah,
And the question
minute,
becomes, I mean, somebody
watch the
said,
stream. I
would
appreciate
people
y'all
want to-
hanging out.
I don't even know. I have no
Through the
idea.
full interrogation of Alec Baldwin, about halfway through this, so join along for the ride. Trying to figure out, did Alec Baldwin self-incriminate himself? And I'm going to say we're 34 minutes in right now. I probably would have lawyered up about 34 minutes ago. Just my opinion.
I have no idea.
Well, and it was good, because that was mentioned to me, is that it sounded like it was most of the camera crew that walked off set
Yes.
yesterday and quit, and maybe they got fired because they walked off. So the other thing is that the 2 major people, like you said, the director, those are the ones who got hurt. So with the camera crew and them quitting, and then your director getting injured, as well as Halyna, you don't think there's anybody that had any anger towards them or anything that would want
I
to
don't know
disrupt?
that.
So, what they did here was when Alec first initially sat down, he was just da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They backed him up. They started creating a timeline, and now they're trying to look at certain individuals. Do you think that someone could have done this to try to narrow down any type of suspect?
Details. I know that one guy, whose name I'm forgetting, he was a very heavy-set guy.
Okay.
He was and lovely to me. And he walked up to me and he said, thank you for the things you posted on social media in support of the IATSE strike. And he said, I'd like to talk to you privately. He said, because I've got some of my guys sleeping in their car.
Mhm.
Many of the crew here, because it's shooting in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, are Albuquerque based. They live there. So the drive time, it's kind of common knowledge in the business that the unions in New Mexico signed very bad deals in order to attract movie shooting here. They wanted to grow the crew base here. So they signed the deal that wasn't a good deal, and that gave them a 60-mile commute radius. So that means if you live within 60 miles of the set, you come to work and you don't get paid any, you have to drive home and they don't hotel you. They don't know in New York it's 30 miles and they have to put you up in a hotel and give you gas money, and there's a whole other complicated contract.
Interesting, though, we get kind of the behind the scenes of what goes on in the movie industry. A little bit of an insight here.
In the more expensive markets. Here, this guy was telling me, he turned to me and goes, my guys are sleeping in their car.
You guys could take a
I went
moment
to
and
the
just go
AD
down
and
there
the
and
producers
hit
and
that
asked them
thumbs
what's
up
up with
button.
that.
It really
They knew what
helps
the contract was. We signed the IATSE
in the algorithm. I really would appreciate it.
And then in the middle
Excuse me.
I get a
What kind of car do you drive?
commercial here.
of shooting, they decided they wanted to rewrite their deal. They said, put us up in hotels. Now, if you put the camera crew up in a hotel, all the other crafts are going to ask you to put them in a hotel. We don't have
That
the budget
thumbs
for
up
that.
button, guys. I
That could be
appreciate it.
$75,000, $80,000, you know what I mean?
Thank
Who
you
was
so
that
much.
man?
Who?
The one you said that
I
came up
forget, like I
with-
said, I forget his name.
Okay.
But anybody there can tell you who the big heavy set guy was, who was on the crew that quit yesterday. He didn't come to work today. But my point is that if I'm standing there in a rehearsal, I'm thinking to myself, could someone actually believe that in a rehearsal I would actually aim the gun and hit those 2 people? That's far-fetched. Or do they want somebody to get hit? Or, I keep telling myself, more likely, was it an accident? It was a large quarter load makes noise, but it's like kind of a puff compared. But a half load could shoot a projectile if something was stuck in the barrel. And like I said, the thing that is, I think, going to answer all your questions is, what's in Joel's shoulder? Is it a...
Rick D says, maybe it was a real murder. The thing about the gun was a setup. I hope my English is okay. I'm French Canadian from Montreal. No, your English is perfect. Appreciate the comment. There was some, the funny thing about it, there was some articles earlier in the, when this all initially happened, that Alec and Halyna were actually fighting a lot. They actually had a fight at dinner the prior night before. Was it a murder? I don't think so, because at this point, Rick, all of those potential angles have been explored. So if the authorities are set and the DA is set on these particular charges, it means that they've gone over all the possible scenarios that could have happened. And it just concluded of an action of involuntary manslaughter. If you don't know what that is, and I'll just read the definition. Involuntary manslaughter, and I'm not sure of your laws up in Canada, but here in the States, involuntary manslaughter is defined as an unintentional killing that results either from reckless or criminal negligence. So that's the basic definition of that. So, like I said, all of those angles most likely have been explored, and they're just feeling that, people weren't paying attention, people were fucking around on set, and this happened. And because, he was the one that held the gun and pointed it and shot her, he's liable. He's liable through his recklessness. And that's what we talked about. Gun checks, making sure that things are safe on set. Why was there live ammunition on set? Shouldn't have been there. So it was a lot of reckless things that were going on. But that is it's a really great question to bring up and ask. Danger says, Alec resembles the heavyset guy who name he can't remember. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Danger.
Rock, or was it a bullet?
I could actually show that to you.
What?
What was in his shoulder? We did
Did they take it out?
So you being on set for so many years, like you said, have you ever seen? You said you've never seen anything come out before.
I've never seen a projectile come out. No.
Right.
No.
So, but do you know what the bullets look like? Would it have looked something like this if anything did ever come out of something?
Okay. No. Okay.
So let's backtrack a little bit.
I'm going to say this to you.
Hold on.
That's a bullet. That's a bullet. So
Right.
as I suspected, somebody put a live round in the gun. If that's a bullet that was pulled out of his shoulder, then someone loaded a live round into the gun I was holding.
So now
he's trying to say that someone loaded a live round. Let's go back a little bit there.
A round in the gun.
Let's see, what do you say?
I could actually show that to you. You said have you ever seen? You said you've never seen anything come out before.
I've never seen a projectile come out. No.
Right.
No.
So, but do you know what the bullets look like? Would it have looked something like this if anything did ever come out of something?
Okay. No. Okay.
So let's backtrack a little
I'm
bit.
going to say this to you.
Hold on.
That's a bullet. That's a bullet. So
Right.
as I suspected, somebody put a live round in the gun.
Somebody put a live round in the gun.
If that's a bullet that was pulled out of his shoulder, then someone loaded a live round.
So now the question is, how did live ammunition get onto that movie set? That's the problem.
Into the gun.
And keep in mind, this armorer, this was her first major movie that she ever did. I think she only did one really low budget movie before that. So she was very inexperienced. And she even said, there was some quotes of her saying that she was actually going to turn down the offer to do this because she was so nervous.
So now, let me ask you, did you see the rounds that were in the gun?
No.
Have you seen, throughout the whole time on set, have you seen what they look like?
I've watched her load and reload the gun many times.
Have you seen the bullets themselves?
Well, meaning yes, meaning you see sometimes the head is the casing, and the head is a pinched, it almost looks like a dumpling. It's closed at the top. There is no piece.
Who is this woman? So this is an investigation. I'm not sure how you guys do it up in Canada. I'm sure they probably do interrogation or investigation. The two ladies that are sitting at the table with Alec are basically police. They're detectives, and they're doing their due diligence and getting a statement from Alec. Again, any proceedings like this that you are, especially when someone died, you don't want to speak to police. You get your lawyer right away. Get your lawyer right away.
And you put the cosmetic round in when you know you're going to see. If I say to you, what is your first name again?
Alex.
If I say to you, Alex, don't you move a muscle, darling, I'm going to blow you. And the camera shoots me. You want to see the material in the cylinder. The cosmetic clay-based, non-bullet round.
So can you describe to me what those clay-based rounds look like?
They look like a bullet.
What colors?
They're gray. They look exactly like a bullet. Brass head and a brass base, packed with something, I'm assuming, and then the head look like a bullet. So cosmetically, you see that in the cylinder. The other rounds you shoot have a.
Appreciate everybody checking in.
It's the base with the pin. This comes up, and it's a round like this. And if you look at the top, you're looking down at the bullet, with not the pin down near the top of it. It's folded in almost like a. It's like a dumpling.
Like a pinch.
Exactly, it's like a folded up thing, and the chart and all that does is go boom.
So
there's no projectile there.
If I showed you a couple rounds, would you be able to tell me if they're the ones that look like they were on set?
Probably, I think I could probably tell you which were the rounds that were put in cosmetic.
Okay.
And which were the rounds that were the flash rounds.
All right.
Yeah, this is definitely where he needs to get a lawyer.
I know.
Please don't forgive my.
Stop talking. You need a lawyer, dude.
My weirdness about this. That's what came out of Joel's shoulder.
Yes.
Joel.
Yes. And the reason why I was showing it because you said you have experience, but you're saying when this does come out, it's supposed to just puff and not really be
usually
a hard object.
If there's any chance that when you look at the gun, so here's the barrel, here's the sight, and the cylinders around it has the holes.
Mm-hmm.
We're just looking at the gun, the camera's eye view.
Yeah.
When you look at the cosmetic rounds go in, they have no flash. But if you want to have cosmetic rounds that flash, if you want me to hold the gun, you see the bullets, and I shoot, that material is often a clay or fabricated material that just disintegrates, just turns to powder. And the rounds that you put that you don't see, you're not seeing down the barrel, you're shooting, those are the flash rounds, which have the top that looks like it's like folded kind of things like this, which looks like something's packed in and closed.
But specifically today was supposed to be either empty or the ones that don't even make anything.
Cold rounds.
So cold round, the one with the hole in it.
Yes.
And it's not supposed to puff up or.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's called Audible.
Powder off, like you said.
Halls told me that when he checked the rounds with her, they were all had the holes in them. And sometimes he told him, when I wasn't familiar with this, they'll take the round, and if it's a cold round, it'll have the holes, and inside will be BBs, and you shake it.
Yeah.
So when you shake the BB, it's an acoustic thing to tell you that's a cold round.
Okay, and yeah, that's what.
Inside this base is stuff that rattles, little BBs that rattle. So you pick the gun, that's a cold round that goes in the gun.
Okay, and that's what you're supposed to have today.
I was supposed to have an empty gun.
Empty.
Or when we shot, for the rehearsal, empty.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we shot, the flash rounds and everybody preps. And then she says, hot gun. She announces it, and the crew gets ready.
But you didn't even get to that part.
I rehearsed with a hot gun. Now.
But you were supposed to be cold.
It was supposed to be cold or empty. But now, not only did I rehearse with a hot gun, I rehearsed with a gun that had a bullet inside. If that's what came out of this show, this is the most horrifying thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, so yeah, and that's why I wanted to make sure that anytime that you shot a hot gun, you've never seen anything like this come out before.
Never.
Because I'm not familiar with prop guns.
Never.
I could tell you what a projectile looks like, and that does
Well,
look
let me
like
ask
a
you this.
projectile.
But say that's a bullet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what comes out of,
Well, I think the question, I mean, I don't want to tell you your job, but I'm so sick about this, so sickened by this, that a bullet passed through this girl's body. She's in critical condition in a hospital right now, and I fired the gun. And if you don't think I feel really, really shitty about that, I do, but the question becomes, to ask Hannah, did you commingle live bullets? What they call live rounds. When they say live rounds, that's a bullet that a police officer would shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from in her kit?
Yeah.
She commingled live rounds with dummy rounds or movie rounds.
And we asked her that. Do you know where you guys get the...
See, even if she was fully responsible for the ammunition getting on set, Alec, as the producer, is responsible and in charge of that set. So that's why he's responsible in that sense. And then he was the one that pulled and fired the gun. And it comes back to just basic firearm safety. We talked about this.
rounds from? Who orders it? Or you don't have any
Yeah,
part
he's
of
talking
any of
way
that?
too much.
For me?
Yeah,
Or you got her, yeah.
all familiar, okay.
All I know is when we come to the set, you hand me a cold gun, nothing's in reverse. Then we load the gun with the flash rounds and we shoot. That's it, every time. We never had a problem.
So you didn't even get to that second part of you'll hand it back.
Sorry, my camera is blaring out here.
I do want to ask you about Dave Holt. I understand sometimes she'll hand the gun off to Dave Holt and then he'll hand it to you. Did that happen at this incident?
No. I don't recall ever doing it.
It was Hannah handing
I
it.
never recall. I recall that when we would stop the scene, if we finished the scene, Halls is someone who is assumed by his position to be authorized to do nearly everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was doing a scene with you and we finished the scene, we finished your angle and we were going to turn around and shoot my angle, when they say turning around, that means it's time to go to the bathroom, go get a bottle of water, go get a coffee, go smoke a cigarette. We have a break. And if I was going to go to the bathroom, I'd hand Halls the gun to give to her. I would only hand it to her, or if she wasn't around, if she was awake, she'd be at the shop. They can't hand Halls the gun, they give it to her. Give this to Hannah.
So sometimes you would hand the gun to Hall, but you never, he never handed the gun to you.
No.
Okay.
No,
So
never.
you would hand it to him.
I passed it off to him if she was not on site and I was going to run to use the bathroom. I was going to, but that's very typical. Halls is empowered and authorized to hand him the weapon.
Sorry, I'm
He's
fighting
only
the
other person
exposure
who
on my
after
camera
the
right
gun.
now. It's kind of being a pain in the
Whether it was
neck.
a cold gun with no things or flash rounds, I'd
Get
say.
it to
Hot
refill.
gun, hand it to him. Well, usually not. Because usually it was a hot gun. If it was a hot gun we were going to shoot, she'd be right nearby.
Okay.
If I hand, because other times we have rubber guns. We have fake guns. Yeah.
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 And
I just want to
specifically,
turn on.
sorry, right before this incident, Hannah handed you the gun and said, cold. It wasn't Dave.
I don't recall, no, Hannah handed me the gun.
Okay. It wasn't anybody else but Hannah.
No, Hannah handed me the gun.
And she specifically said.
I believe she said cold, I don't recall it.
Where, so this is I'm not that great of a drawer, but this is the church, this is the front where the
You enter here. Yeah.
cross
Where the cross
is. Where did she hand the gun to you? Inside while you
Oh,
were
yes, because I was seated.
You were,
In other words, this is a scene in the church where you come in and there's a lot of disarray. There's benches tipped over and and here was one bench that was upright and sturdy. Some of the other benches are prop benches so they can smash easily with explosives. You want the gunfire to have fake benches. They're made of a lighter wood, so they put charges inside. So when you shoot, cinematically, when a guy's shooting a gun and you turn around and see what he's shooting at, you're going to see charges that are buried in.
Way too much. I keep saying this. You should have lawyered up about 46 minutes ago.
Inside. They put a little material behind. You're going to see boom, boom, boom. It seems flash. That is a prop bench. There were prop benches around that they were eventually going to put. Today, we're going to put squibs in to have them blow up. And this was a real bench, a heavy, because if you sat on the prop bench, it would break.
mm-hmm.
This was a live bench, and I sat here, and the camera was here, and she was here, and Joel was here.
She being Halyna?
Halyna.
Okay. And
I'm here on the bench sitting. I'm right here to the right. I'm all
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that Ricky brought up a good point. That's the thing with actors and actresses. You never know if they're just acting, are they telling the truth, are they being dramatic? So it's like you have to put all those things aside in any type of investigation and just go on what they're telling you as far as facts to the case. So that is a very great point. Obviously, there's some theatrics going on here as well.
all the way to one side. They wanted me to go all the way to that side. And the camera guy was here.
There's a, oh, sorry, it's getting late. There's a interview, Rick, if you haven't seen it, you can look it up, and it's Alec Baldwin with George Stephanopoulos, and it's a really interesting interview. There's a lot of acting in that.
Behind. Hannah was here. Joel was here. Where the other people, I believe that the script room was always in that corner so she could see the actual. And when I shot the gun away from the cameraman, I always never aimed against the camera. I turned and I went like this to aim the camera, and she was there, and the gun went off, and she just went right on the ground.
What about the armor?
And again, it's been proven already that the FBI has looked at this particular gun, and it could not possibly go off without pulling that trigger.
No, or was she?
She's outside.
Okay.
She hands
She
you
comes
the gun,
in. She hands me the gun all the time.
and then what?
If there's any shooting involved in the scene, she always hands me the gun.
Never has Dave handed you the gun?
Never.
And then she goes back outside.
She waits
When you-
outside because she just can't be there sitting there doing what I see. Sometimes in scenes there's reflections, like you see. So you only need the necessary crew in there for shooting the camera. Everybody else leaves, and as soon as they say cut, they come running back in.
Okay. Real quick before she shows you that, the other thing I wanted to know, and it's probably helping she does show you those rounds. Have you, in your experience, ever been told that you're not supposed to cock the gun?
Yeah,
No, you're
that's basic gun safety.
okay.
He wanted me to cock the gun in the scene.
Okay.
He wanted that as part of the scene. He said, "I'm going to take the gun out, turn, and cock it into to the right, my left, to their right of the lens." It was if I'm sitting here and you're the camera, we don't talk about my left. We talk about camera right. Camera right. We only talk about the camera. Camera right is my left. So if I'll say to you, "Where do you want me to aim the gun?" They'll say, "Camera right." So I aim the gun to my left.
Okay.
So I always aim the gun away, but she was there. And in the rehearsal, he wanted me to pull out the gun and cock the gun. And if you're assuming you have a cold gun, there's no problem.
Right.
And again, a cold gun I'd had, every time we've used guns in this film the last 2 weeks, we've never had one problem. Never. Never.
Okay. And I don't, maybe we discussed this when I was going, after the gun was shot, who did you hand the gun to?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. I made everybody freaked out.
I think so. Okay.
It was one of those two people, Halls. I don't really know. I would imagine, well, there's the dummy there. So that's probably a dummy round. And there's no drill in this. That might be a flash round. And as I said,
So flash rounds do not have holes.
well, the flash round has a charge in here,
Okay.
of powder, different sizes. Like I said, quarter, half, full load, and a wadding in there to pack it in.
So a flash round, what they're talking about here, or like a dummy round on a set, on the shell, on this particular gun, would have holes in the shell. So when the firing pin is hit on the bullet, the gunpowder goes out and just creates more of like a flash, and there's not a projectile in front of the gun like the slug of a bullet. So it would be the shell, gunpowder, or some kind of explosive powder. I assume it was probably just gunpowder, and then they would put like a wad, and that's kind of what he's talking about right now, some cotton material or something to pack in that gunpowder so it hits the firing pin, and the wad would come out instead of a bullet.
Pin tightly.
Okay.
So when you hit this pin, it explodes. Now, sometimes it has this material there if you have to have the cosmetic feature through the gun and then shoot. But often it has, there's the BBs in there. This is a dummy round. No dummy.
So the BBs, there's 2 small BBs, I believe, in a separate chamber that when you shake it, you can hear that it's a dummy round. Alec's body language looks like he's innocent. Uh, my take on it is I don't think obviously he meant to fucking shoot this woman, but there was a lot of negligence on that movie set. And when he keeps saying that, I didn't pull the trigger, I think he did. Because there's already been testing on that gun to prove that the trigger would have been needed to be pulled in order for that gun to go off. I think there was also some negligence with the armorer, of course, because she has been charged as well. And again, ultimately in the end, Baldwin is responsible for everything. This was his movie. He was the production person, so he was in charge of all of that. So he is ultimately responsible. So he has to, pay. But now it's, like here in the States, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. He will go through his due process and he will go to either trial or take a type of plea. I think he's going to go to trial. I think he is going to go to trial.
Here, but there's that. My point is that very often when she's loaded the gun with rounds.
He may be innocent in the fact of not wanting to hurt someone, but there definitely was a lot of gross conduct on the part of what happened on that set. There's a lot to answer for. How did the live rounds get on set? How did the live rounds get into that gun? Why was the hammer pulled back and shot in the direction of someone? The trigger was pulled. So he's got a lot to answer for. So that's negligence. That's not being safe.
For us to go hot and flash and shoot, they'd had that creased, folded head, the dumpling head, as we say.
Okay.
They've almost never looked like this for the flash. Only when the camera sees.
Another commercial.
I designed the Grip 6 belt because there was 3 things.
Birth of the belt.
belts.
Inside the cylinder, do you put those in?
But those are both dummy rounds.
That's a dummy
Here.
round. That's a dummy round. That's what they taught me.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert.
I understand. I'm sure you have more experience with dummy rounds than we do.
Don't find out though. I'm sure I always say to my wife, I think I should get a gun. I'm getting a little nervous about the load. I was like, no gun with my house. I got 6 kids. I'm 63 years old and I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and an 8-month-old that we had as a surrogate.
Oh
my
my
daughter.
gosh.
I'm 63 years old, and we had 6 kids in 7 years. So my wife she was born in the U.S. but raised in Spain. She's like, Alec, we will not be having any guns in the house. No.
You say this has always been the controversy too. His wife's fake accent.
3 years old, and I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and an 8-month-old that we had as a surrogate.
Oh
my
my
daughter.
gosh.
I'm 63 years old, and we had 6 kids in 7 years. So my wife she was born in the U.S. but raised in Spain. She's like,
Born in the U.S. but raised in Spain, and somehow got this fake Spanish accent.
Alec, we will not be having any guns in the house. No. But
Okay.
I believe that's a dummy round.
So you called this a flash round, right?
No. Flash round means there's a charge in there.
Rick saying it's a terrible work accident. Maybe that's it. Yes, and that's the thing though. But he is ultimately responsible. He was the person that held the gun. He was the person that should have checked the gun for gun safety. He was the person that pointed the gun. He was the person that pulled the trigger. So you're negligent in that, and you have to pay for that. That is a crime. And he's responsible for that movie set. Everything that goes on that movie set, he was responsible for. So I do think that it was an accident. I didn't think he meant for it to happen, but because of his negligence, someone got killed.
No charge in there, if you hear that sound.
Okay.
No charge in there if you see that.
So what happens
So I
when you
was told.
shoot these? Or to what you?
You put them in there cosmetically with nothing in them, so that through the cylinder, you can see that.
Okay.
You can see in the cylinder whether the cylinder is empty,
Or,
and they look bad, continuity-wise, or that there's a round in there. So they put a cosmetic round in the chamber. They load the gun, close it, and then I hold the gun. You see the things in there. A flash round would be like what crimped is the word, a
Yeah.
crimped round with a charge inside, and that one shoots, and there's no projectile. I'm really challenged whether they ever see. I doubt, sometimes they have these where you can do both, but that's the clay material. But usually, 99% of the time when we shot a flash round, it was the crimped thing,
Thanks for
and
those
you don't
thumbs
see
up,
it.
guys. I appreciate
So
that.
you're the camera, and I'm not pointing
Push
where
this
you can
out
see
in
it.
the
I'm awful, but
algorithm.
all you see is the flash.
Good old YouTube
do you know
algorithm.
what would happen if you shot one of these? Have you ever had experience with that?
Nothing.
Nothing happens with them?
There's no charge in them. This
Did you see
indicates,
the bottoms?
but well, sometimes they have the pin to create something. I'm just saying, when I look at this, when I go like this, now, by the way, there could be a
Appreciate
charge,
everybody hanging out late this
and that
evening.
charge and those BBs could come
I
out.
know this has been a very long stream. We got about 20 minutes left. I do want to finish this up. It's probably going to take us right up to about 11 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast here. So I appreciate you. Let's hang in there. We'll get through the rest of this, and then we're all going to go off and go to bed. I got to get up.
I
early
don't know,
tomorrow
I
for
don't know
work.
enough about it to know.
I do
whether
actually have
this
a
rattling indicates
work
that it's
life.
an empty, a cold round. That's obviously a cold round, because that's where the gunpowder would be in here.
Mhm.
That's a cold round. This, I'm assuming, is a cold round, because they go like this to tell themselves it's a cold round. I believe, please don't take my word for it, I'm
Just in your experience.
a father of 6 children, pretty much.
If
That's all
anybody
I do
wants to
these days.
support the channel,
My
you can go
experience,
down
those are
there, hit a
both
super
cold
chat,
rounds.
or hit the join button. I do have monthly memberships that do.
And I was told by Hall
to
that when they took the gun away and looked at
content.
every round inside the gun was a cold round, except the one round was not only a hot round, it was a live round, it was a bullet. If you're telling me that that's what came out of his shoulder, there's something really, really scary going on here.
Well, and I think that's what she was
Something's really
trying to
bad.
ask, is if any time, well, you said these are cold ones, but the ones that are not cold, the quarter,
Right,
those,
they have the crimp
that
head.
they have you ever seen anything like that ever come out on set?
No, it's not possible.
Not possible. Okay.
It's not possible.
Yeah, they don't have a head.
I'm saying these,
They don't have there's no projectile.
there's no projectile. Okay. So then, and these shouldn't,
Somebody put a live bullet in the gun.
these shouldn't separate or
We wouldn't have made that statement.
do that either.
No,
Okay.
separate, no, probably.
Like that shouldn't come out either when, if it does.
If you did a flash round, that wouldn't be there.
Okay.
This is a cosmetic round only.
Right.
I point the gun, that's in the cylinder. When we shoot the gun, 99% of the time, it's a flash round that you don't see the cylinder. You're the camera, and I'm slightly off, so you don't see the
I'm sorry, we keep having you explain that, but it's just because there's different rounds.
Right. I'm saying this is a cosmetic round, to my knowledge.
Mhm.
And if there is, another question for you is there a cosmetic round? I mean, is there a flash round that has the head, which I believe they have, where you could shoot into the gun? Meaning, if the director wants you to aim the gun at the camera, they put a lucite screen up there, and I shoot the gun at you, you can see the bullets inside there, or they can go.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone.
to do that with a
So if you wonder what a lucite screen is, it's basically almost like a plexiglass screen that has some protection against bullets, a live round. If it happens,
Computer.
or any type
Mhm.
of projectile.
But if I put the thing toward you and then shoot, they'll have a round that has this on there that'll explode. But again, I've been told that is a clay material or something that just dissolves on exploding. No projectile comes out. On a flash round, it blows up, that you shoot on camera, quarter, half, full. There is no projectile unless some material is stuck in the barrel of the gun.
Okay.
And I thought for sure what happened was, did they not check there was a stone or whatever? Now again, I am speechless. We're here shooting, everything was going fine.
Yeah, the
Joel is my friend. I'm one of the...
Do you think that Alec is guilty or innocent right now? It's split with 2 votes, 50-50.
producers on this movie. We've developed this movie together for 3 years. I left my wife and 6 kids in New York to come here for a month to shoot this movie. And I'm the one that shot the gun today and had a live bullet go through that woman's body and into his body. And I need to know, how did that happen? Where did that bullet come from? Where did there are no live rounds in her kid, I'm told. Everybody is sitting around waiting for you to come here with all the sheriffs and all the people that were there, waiting for us to get ready to come and do this with you. And all they did was talk about that. But it's speculation of like, in her kit, she doesn't have live rounds.
And that's what we were told. That's what when we asked her, she said, there is no live rounds, not even in her kit, not on set, anywhere. So
For that very reason.
There are reports that people were shooting beer cans on set.
we want to know the same question too. Yeah, how, if there's not supposed to be any live rounds on set,
Then it comes down
how
to
and who
possible manufacturer defect.
or that.
That a cosmetic round shot this projectile through them? Is that possible? Did you find that? I don't know.
It's possible.
Oh, it is. They told you that mechanically, if that's possible.
Yes.
I've
So
heard.
sometimes there is a charge in the end of not intentionally, but
A mistake. Today, I sit here, and whether it was a misfiring theatrical round or a live one, I shot this woman with a gun today. I just feel so good.
Says, I'm reading an article here from the New York Post. I don't want to pull it up because I'm going to... Hey, Danger, good night. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate that. Have a great night. New York Post, I'm reading. It says, meanwhile on set, some crew members allegedly killed time by taking target practice at beer cans with a prop gun that contained live rounds, a pastime known as plinking. So this is something that does go on in movie sets. It's a thing called plinking. It's just basically killing time. And it's possibly how live rounds got on this set.
You know,
I can imagine that would not look good.
I feel really bad. You know, it's like I mean, everything was going great. The only problem we had was when these 6 guys wanted to quit. And there, I don't know the jargon, but their, union rep or whatever in the New Mexico contract.
Hold the top
contracts
now.
are different states. The
Alec
person that was in
Baldwin
charge of
guilty
these
of
people.
7 and innocent
Kind of a
33.
pipeline, a lot of shooting going on, a lot of movie for TV work in Albuquerque, Santa Fe. The person was their head person was told them, don't strike. It's not, again, we don't want to cripple the indie business and put all of our employees out of work. Our indie contract is set for now. You have a contract you're under, now we can renegotiate that contract.
More minutes.
which
I'm going to
no doubt
wrap
they
this
will.
one up. Appreciate everybody
But in the
hanging out.
meantime, you have a contract that you agreed to.
I know it's
And
getting
those
late.
men came,
Not
I'm
to
not
lose
criticizing
people.
them, they came under
I
a contract which
understand.
they knew what it was. They reported to work, and then halfway through the shooting, they left, they walked off. And I don't, when he said to me, well, my guys are sleeping in my car, the ADs and the
You guys
producers.
should take a moment really quick. Just hit that thumbs up button. I really would appreciate it.
They're all of a sudden complaining about a contract they've been working on it for quite a while. And some days we wrap, and they shoot nights. Those are
Thumbs
tough.
up. 100 would
The
be
men,
great.
the women, they have to go back to their homes and they
10.
be Albuquerque.
10 would
for
really
an
help.
hour. It's
Just give me
3 o'clock in
10
the morning.
thumbs up, guys.
And we try to put the night shooting on the weekend, so when you wake up the following day, you're off. And then and then some days we wrap the ferry. The day before they walked up the job, we wrapped at 5:45 in the afternoon. It was a very reasonable day. A very easy day, 6 o'clock. Because I'm driving away with them, and I waved to that guy. The guy said, I want to talk to you, the heavyset guy.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving. I said, I'll see you tomorrow. And I left because I want to get home.
Right.
I want to go call my kids before they go to bed in New York. And yesterday when I was driving, when I saw him, the sun was still out. We didn't shoot a day like usually we shoot till we lose the light. That's why we're here, to shoot in New Mexico.
Yeah.
New Mexico is the star of the
the
movie.
scenery.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you, in your opinion, feel that this could have been an accident? Or do you?
I want to believe that, let me ask you this, because I don't know anything about this, because it was such mayhem when this happened.
Mhm.
Everybody was sick that this happened. 'Cause we didn't
This is where you get a lawyer, man.
know. No one imagined. Everyone thought she was hit by wadding or something, got burned. No one presumed she was shot with a bullet. Any projectile went through her body. No one even considered that wasn't possible. So the question is, the cartridge that came out, the cartridge is when the gun that they fired. Have you got that?
So we have to send that, we don't analyze that stuff, we collect it, but then we send it to lab.
It was collected. You have
It will be.
Right. That's all I'm saying, is that to me, I'm wondering, what was that? What was in that? The measurement, I don't know anything about that. What are they? What ballistics? How can they measure what was in that?
Mhm.
How much of it?
And that'll all be done at the lab.
Yeah. I don't know. All I know is the gun went off, she hit the floor, he hit the floor, he started screaming.
Another
210 Home Buyers Warranty can help you protect your heating,
commercial.
cooling, and plumbing.
Couple more minutes, and we're
She
going to
went
be able
into
to
shock.
finish this one up. About
She
12
went
more
into- she didn't
minutes. It's
talk.
going to take us right up to
Her
about
eyes are
11
rolling back
o'clock.
in her head.
And we're going to end this
And
stream
blah,
in
blah,
the
blah.
evening.
And bad.
Appreciate everybody hanging out.
Everybody's just getting really, and then they start doing CPR, and everybody gets really panicky. And then people start wondering, what did something, we assumed because the wadding can burn you, there's material that can come out under that, very rarely, that could burn you. But remember, that often doesn't happen because there's always a cold gun on the rehearsal. By the time you leave, if the wadding comes out and it hits somebody, they're 20 feet away from you in a gunfight, the crew is away. They're not shooting anybody near the crew. And my point is that when she went down, I thought, what was stuck? We all said the same thing. What was stuck in the barrel? Was something left. They didn't clean the barrel, which they always do, always. And was there a rock or something that went through her body? I didn't know about the passing through her body. I know she was hit. I didn't know where, and I don't know to what extent. But we all presumed, as we're sitting outside bullshitting for the last 2 hours while this went on, the aftermath, we assumed something was lodged in the barrel, was a projectile that went into her body. Now, when you tell me that's what came out of Joel's shoulder, that's a faulty round, which I've never heard of that before.
Okay.
Never. I've never heard of a theatrical flash round that was loaded into a gun that had a projectile that misfired, and that
Alex should have lawyered up about an hour and 2 minutes ago.
projectile came out that was a lethal round. Normally, if you're going to have a round that has this on it, it's the material that disintegrates when you fire the gun. Because if you take a flash round with gunpowder in it, whether it's a quarter, half, or full load, and you put a real bullet on, that's called a bullet. That's not a movie bullet. That's a bullet.
Yeah.
How did that happen? I mean, I'm the person that fired the gun. I'm dying to find out how that happened. How did that bullet that caused it end up in her kit?
And again, we're not going to know if it was manufacturer issues or someone did bring
Again,
it
Rick, I
down
don't think
until
that
it's been tested and we looked at the whole
Meant to shoot her.
casing and projectile
Ultimately, he
of
is
it.
responsible.
So is there anybody on set
or
that
to
you
kill
would think
her.
want to cause a disturbance in the filming or have any issues with anybody on set, minus what happened, if you don't think...
No, in the movie business, there are always some whiny people,
Okay.
but not so much so that they want to shoot somebody.
So nothing...
I've never heard of anything like this in my lifetime, ever. I've made 75 movies.
So in the past couple of weeks that you've been on set, there's nobody really...
There's no one I would imagine would be capable of doing something like this.
Nothing that out of the ordinary.
But again, I think it's a critical point to me, which is, if this is a flash round, if there's a flash round, and you have a piece here, this piece has to be a certain type of, which if you wanted, I've told you before, if you want the shot to go off, and see that the cylinder cosmetically has a round in there, this is not the thing that was in Joel's shoulder.
But and then I want to come back to this. You said that when the gun went off, you experienced no kick.
Yeah, there was no recoil. There was no recoil, but that I remember.
Okay.
I mean, literally, I'm holding the gun, and let me slowly pull, turn, cock, and as soon as I cock it, bang.
And I'm just really quick. I'm reading this. Just 4 basic rules of firearm safety, and they call it TABIC. TABK. T. Treat every firearm as if it's loaded. A. Always point the muzzle in a safe direction. B. Be certain of your target and where and what's beyond it. K. Keep your finger outside the trigger guard until ready to shoot. Those are just 4 basic gun safety rules.
Bang! And I jumped. I mean, you obviously, that's the last thing you think is going to happen.
Mhm.
Everything has been done. Every breath we take is to obviate that possibility. And the gun went off, and
No, he won't be able to wait to pay his way out of this. But I think what will happen is, if he's there's 2 things here in the States when there's a wrongful death type of suit. You can be, obviously, he's criminally charged. That's by the state. And then the family can go after him for what's called a wrongful death suit. That actually happened like in the O.J. Simpson trial. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in the criminal trial, but was found guilty in the personal lawsuit. And that was what the family sued him criminally negligent, and he was found guilty in that suit. So if you're found criminally negligent in a lawsuit from a family, that is usually paid monetarily. So he would have had to pay money. And as far as I know, up until this date, he has not paid the Goldmans 1 single dime of money in that case. Sad.
all I can think of, as I keep saying, is that I've never heard of a.
So ultimately, what's going to happen is, if he is guilty, he would go to prison from the state. But if he's found criminally negligent in the lawsuit from the family, he would pay money, and it could essentially wipe him out.
Flash round that had a bullet on top, that had a projectile similar to what came out of Joel's shoulder. I've never heard of that in my life, ever. Never.
Couple more minutes.
Flash rounds normally have the crimping.
For the
There's
night.
a head on there. It's
All
made of
hanging
special
in.
material. And in this scene, you were to look down the barrel of the gun and shoot. You have to ask them that, by the way. You have to ask, well, both of them were in the hospital now. But was it their intention? Because when I was given the gun, I'm assuming it's a cold gun with nothing in it. When it goes to time to shoot, are they going to see in the barrel?
That's the mistake. He's just assuming. He's not checking the firearm, and that's his responsibility.
That there's a gun.
That's why he's negligently right now charged negligently for the death of Halyna Hutchins.
There. Very often what they'll do is they'll have you put the cosmetic rounds and I'll draw the gun up, I'll aim it, they cut. And cinematically they'll cut to the other guy going like this. Then they'll cut back to me with the flash round with no projectile. But what I'm saying to you is a theatrical round, a flash round.
I need your help with something huge.
So many commercials.
My name is Bob Diamond. I'm America's tax sale attorney.
With a bullet head. I've never heard of that in my life ever. Never.
I'm not sure,
That's
Rick.
a bullet.
That's a good question. I don't know if that's
Less of a charge,
or
but that's a bullet. I don't know what to say. I've never heard of this in my life.
What's your date of birth, Alex?
April 3rd, 1958.
Do we have, is there someone that we can contact if we have other questions for you?
His name is Jonah.
Jonah,
Jonah. His last name is Foxman. They told me that you wanted this correct.
Please tell me that's his attorney. You should have called him an hour ago.
Jonah, Foxman, Foxman.
Yeah, redacting the probably phone number.
Is any other? We have one more here.
What do you want me to do?
You can go wherever.
Well, let me ask you this. Originally, and this is a very complicated.
I think a lot of issue that I had too was the next day after this incident and this interrogation, he was actually up in Montpelier, Vermont, shopping with his wife. So I get a huge issue with that.
It was modest compared to what happened to them, but my wife and my whole family was scared. And on Saturday, my daughter was going to be in the movie. They had a little part for my daughter. The 8-year-old.
Oh,
she was so excited to go. And now the question is, Joel's not going to go back to work for a while.
Right.
I doubt he'll be back to work in a week or two at that. Who knows what they're going to do? They're going to get the shit suit out of them.
I think his was a shoulder. He might, I don't know. It's up to him how he feels and stuff on.
But I'm sure that there are so many insurance issues for them.
There's going to probably a halt on
They're in a lot
it.
of trouble, insurance-wise and civil action-wise. What I'm saying,
I almost feel like, and I'm sorry, that's called a civil lawsuit. That was the word that I was looking for when a family sues someone over a negligent act. Now it just almost feels like he's deflecting, like, Joel's the one that's going to get sued and this and that.
I told them I would stay here tomorrow. My family's not going to come now. I begged them to come in. My wife wants to cancel the trip. She thinks it's just a weird energy. I told the producers that I would stay tomorrow in case anybody else, their insurance investigators, anybody, their lawyers wanted to talk to me. I'll make myself. And then Saturday, I was going to fly home to New York and just wait for them to tell me what to do. Did you need me to stay here beyond Saturday? I will do whatever you tell me to do.
Okay, so I think, what we need to do, we're going to go and process the scene. If there's anything else that comes up, and that we need to contact you, you said you'll be here till Saturday? Or you want to fly?
Oh, no, as of now, I'm going to stay tomorrow to make myself available to the insurance investigators and their attorney, the production's attorney.
Did you watch
To make myself
the
available. They told me
Netflix
they're not sure they need to talk to me.
three-part?
I'm going to stay tomorrow
three-part
and get on a
documentary?
plane Saturday to go home. And God knows when we're going to come back. It might be months.
Check that out if you haven't
So
seen
we
it.
can contact you.
Yes, as long as we have this number and he's not going to change
Right,
it,
what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to leave on
You're okay.
Saturday unless you tell me not to.
you're okay.
If you tell me to come back in, I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. But my wife wanted me to come home.
Yeah, so as long as we have a way of contacting you
So,
is what we need to do to get a hold of you, okay? But I think you, unless tomorrow you hear something different from us, because right now we're going to go, we'll interview a
Talk
couple
to me
more
again tomorrow, I'll
people.
come here right away.
Okay,
Tell me where you are.
What's your work cell
490,
or your office? Sorry.
that one I, don't know, I don't use it.
Okay, well,
So 2850, 490, 2850.
It's called American Murderer. It's on Netflix. That has all the it's interesting how they did it. It's a lot of video footage of raw video.
So the two of you are not best friends,
Kind
you
of
go bowling
tells
together.
the story in order of what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's put it, so this is my card. I put her name on the back of that one, but my,
Couple more minutes. We're gonna close this one.
How do you prefer to be contacted? Office?
Oh, let me put because mine's a different,
what's that?
yeah, I don't, my desk phone has issues, so I use my work cell phone all the time. And that's usually the best way to get a picture. And then if I'm not at my desk either.
If I don't hear from you otherwise, I mean, I'll come in tomorrow if you prefer, but if I don't hear from you otherwise, as of now, I intend to go home on Saturday.
So yeah, and that's fine, because right now, we still have other interviews to do. We gotta go to the scene, process it. The processing at the
I designed the Grip 6 belt because there was 3 things that I hated about belts.
lab might take longer, so you might even not hear from, if
There's
you
2
do.
years backlogged right now.
So our investigations
Me
go long.
remotely.
If it comes to it,
Just tell me
we
what
will
to do.
figure it out at that point. But right
As of now, my
now,
wife wants me to come home.
as of right now, you better listen to your wife and go home.
Okay, are we ready for, I do have some very unfortunate news to tell you.
What?
She didn't make it. Yeah. So Joel's still at the hospital, but the other person involved didn't make it. Sorry. I just didn't want you to hear it outside of here.
Is there something we could do for you? Is that Jonah in it? What? Jonah, the one back there? Okay. Would you want Jonah in here with you? You wanna, what do you wanna do? Do you wanna make a call? You can sit.
You should go.
Are you guys needing a ride? Or are you comfortable? I think they've got their baby. Are you comfortable driving though?
I want to go my way.
Of course, we could even give them privacy.
No, we're gonna go.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Indians, we're gonna go.
No, that's fine. Can I get you more water or anything?
So to give you guys a few minutes in here.
I want to go call my wife.
That's it. All right. Well, Alec got the news at the end of the interview that Halyna did not make it. You saw his reaction there at the end. And yeah, so the question is, we'll have to see how this case plays out. Obviously, there was a lot of negligence on set. You're seeing a lot of people that were involved taking plea deals at this point to not have to go to trial and deal with trial. So we'll see. We'll see if Alec is going to go to trial with this. Again, I believe that he will, in my opinion. We'll just have to see. I will continue to follow this. If there's any new news in this case. And of course, I've been following the Brian Kohberger murder trial as well too, and that won't kick off until June, but there has been a lot of information that is coming out and really connecting him to the victim. So stay tuned. I will continue to follow these cases, and maybe we'll jump aboard another one here. I know there's a few other ones that are very public right now, and I may do some videos on those as well. So appreciate everybody hanging out this evening here on the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel. Appreciate all the new subscribers coming over. If you catch this on replay, please make sure to like, share, comment. You can join the member section down below. If you hit that join button, give me a tip, a monthly tip. I have $2, $5, $10 tips that supports the channel here. And of course, during the live streams, we got those super chats as well. Okay, guys, I am tired. I'm going to go to bed. And like I always say, opinions are like assholes, and everybody's got one. Good night, Rick D. I appreciate you hanging out the entire show. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.